us for an abortion pill reversal.
Wow, an abortion pill reversal.
Yes.
Holy smokes.
So we're going to get to sponsor stuff with Ken, and then
let's get our sponsors out of the way.
Spend a while on our story.
Yeah, absolutely. And for those of you, listen, our sponsors are very important. We love our sponsors because they're the reason, one of the reasons we're able to be on the air with you today. So you want to take time and visit them, such as our great folks at RTS Postal Express. And Angelo running the show for all your printing needs. Now, I hate doing this, but remember Kinko's? You used to go to Kinko's, get all your printing done and all that stuff. Listen, forget Kinko's, we don't care. we have RTS Postal Express, and you're going to get, RTS should stand for really terrific service. And we love Angelo. Now, if you mention KKVV, you're going to get 10% off your first order. Doesn't matter what it is, doesn't matter how big it is. And they do everything from regular copies, like, you need your black and whites and your regular stuff. But they do business cards, letterheads, banners for your business, right? Large or small. The business flags, those things that are flapping in the wind back there. They do resume copies. It doesn't matter what you have that needs to be printed. In fact, I think I mentioned last broadcast, we wanted to do umbrellas with a logo on it. We were looking at doing that, and coffee cups. They even do shirts, which is amazing. They do it all. You want to give RTS Postal Express a call. Give Angelo a call. The number 702-489-4859. That's 702-489-4859. RTS Postal Express. My man Angelo going to take care of all your printing needs. 10% off your first order.
Thank you, Angelo.
Thank you. We love Angelo.
Stats for the last week. We did 64 pregnancy tests and 49 ultrasounds. For those of you who might be joining us on your commute home who aren't used to hearing us at this time and might not be familiar with First Choice. First Choice is a pregnancy center located just a few blocks east of the Las Vegas Strip. Specifically, we're right off the Sahara by the Stratosphere. We opened there 19 years ago, almost 20 actually in December. And we opened on a private drive just yards away from the busiest late-term abortion clinic in the state of Nevada that performed abortions up to 6 months there. And we're getting ready to celebrate 20 years here in another month and a week. And we have had nearly 45,000 babies saved in the last 20 years.
The number is staggering to me. 45,000 children are alive today because First Choice exists.
Yeah.
Not 4,500, even if it was 450, it would be amazing, right?
We could fill the Knights Stadium twice.
That's incredible.
It would be overflowed.
45,000 children that are alive today because First Choice. And the amazing thing is for ladies who perhaps need some help in their pregnancy situation, whatever it might be, it's free.
Yeah. We provide free pregnancy tests, free ultrasounds, abortion pill reversals, medical consultations, limited material services, referrals for all kinds of things that ladies need. We try to provide any resource available to meet any woman's obstacles that she might be facing that are causing her not to be able to choose life for her baby.
That's just amazing.
And we do it all be in the hands and feet of Jesus. We're a Christian organization. Obviously, we're on KKVV, right?
Yeah, that's right. The Light of Las Vegas. So if you'd like more information, or perhaps you'd like to schedule a call, just visit the center or maybe talk to one of the counselors, get a pregnancy test, schedule a sonogram, whatever it is. Give First Choice Pregnancy Services a call. Here's the number, 702-294-CARE. I love that number.
He's gotten good at that number lately.
702-294-2273. And talk to the wonderful ladies over there. It's not going to cost you a dime. Your pregnancy test, maybe you want to find out for sure that you're pregnant, right? Go to a clinic. This is a little hospital just for you.
Yep. So we have Jessica here with us today. I have had the privilege of knowing Jessica now for almost 2 years. I think I met her shortly after her baby was born. She came in to share her story, and she has an incredible story, even down to how her baby was born. And so her and I have texted a little more so over the past year. Another day I texted her, and it's just been incredible that God has brought her back around to First Choice, and we're going to start adding her to a little of our team stuff. And so yesterday I was like, with the election stuff coming up, I was sitting on my couch working on some things, and I had the news on in the background. And there's just so many abortion commercials on right now.
I know. It's amazing to me.
And
it's sad, too.
Like the number one thing that the Democrats are running on is murder. And so I thought, God brought Jessica to my mind, and I thought, you know what? She would be a great person to bring on right now. She sent me a text last week with a commercial that she did for, who was it? Susan B. Anthony.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, we love
And
that.
it was a great commercial, and I said, you know what? Like, we need to have somebody come speak to this. And, she had choice that she was able to make because of First Choice being the only center in the state that provides abortion pill reversals. So, thank you for accepting the opportunity to come join our radio show, Jessica.
Thanks for having me. I'm so honored.
So, give us a little background on yourself, your kids,
All right.
and then we'll get into your story.
So I'm a nurse, and I now have, as of this year, 6 kids.
Wow.
3 girls, 3 boys.
Wow. Wow.
Very awesome.
Very awesome.
Are you from Las Vegas?
No, I grew up in northern Nevada in a small town called Gardnerville.
I have no idea where that is.
A lot of people don't. It's right down the hill from Lake Tahoe.
Okay.
Oh, okay, Northern
Yeah.
Nevada.
Yeah.
So how long have you been in Vegas?
And I've been in Vegas for about 13 and a half years.
Wow.
So tell our audience, our listeners, how you came to know First Choice.
Yeah, so all right. So pretty much really starting with the start of my story, which is that, I was kind of in a fork in my marriage and getting ready to divorce. And I had become pregnant, kind of summoned that up and going through that debate of taking this abortion pill and going through the pressure with my husband, like, no, you have to, there's no choice. Taking that abortion pill and really sitting there realizing the effects of how the pill actually worked. And I think that came from my medical background and realizing, wait a second, hold on. The first pill only works like this. It's only blocking the hormone. It's only blocking the progesterone.
Because actually when Jessica shared her story with me, I was like, wow, I've never even thought about that either. It was the nurse in her, though.
Yeah. So I'm sitting there, you have, they give you, I think it's like 24 to 48 hours before you take the second pill. A lot of people think it's only one pill. They think abortion pill. They only think there's one pill. There's actually 2 parts to the pill. So after the first pill, I'm sitting there just completely an emotional wreck and realizing, wait a second, what I just took is a progesterone blocker. It blocks the hormone that, helps sustain the pregnancy. So I thought, wait a second. So my baby is probably not even dead, especially I was about 9 to 10 weeks. Mm-hmm. And then I realized, oh my gosh, wait, but then the second part, that's the pill that causes like contractions and expels the pregnancy. So that was that light bulb moment of, wait, I'm going to probably expel a live baby and it's going to take its last breaths and last heartbeat outside of my womb. And the visual of that just didn't sit well. I mean, it had me completely distraught, and I thought, I can't do that. And so we had looked and we looked online, and my mom had said a prayer with me, and we set out for an ultrasound. And the clock was really ticking. The clock was racing, and called First Choice up. And they were like, we got you, come right away. And so we were able to get in and right away just walk right through the doors and get onto an ultrasound and find that my baby still had a heartbeat and my baby was alive. My baby.
How did you, what did you search for on the web to find First Choice?
We were looking for an ultrasound.
Okay.
Maybe, I don't know if we looked up specifically like free ultrasound or ultrasound to confirm a pregnancy. I actually had even gone to my OB, but it was like, forget it. I mean, I was going to have to make an appointment. I was going to have to wait hours or maybe come back in days. And I was like, I don't have time.
Right.
I did not have time. The clock was ticking.
Do you know how long it had been since you'd taken the pill?
I think I was definitely probably at about 30-something hours. I think I was at about 30,
over a day.
30-something hours.
Wow.
So I had just sat in what I called my torture chamber for a whole day. Just, wait, hold on. I get 2 days to think about this right before I take the second part, And so I had maxed out for sure that 24 hours. And my friend even said, my friend's a nurse too. She goes, well, we don't know if the baby's alive. You just need an ultrasound. I was like, you're right. I need an ultrasound. We have to confirm if this baby's even alive, you know? I'm like, but she could be. What if there's enough, you know, hormones sustaining her life? And so then that's when the next day, you know, we prayed and we went out. So
I'm very curious and your background, because I'm just meeting you for the first time. Were you raised a Christian, or did your faith play a part in your decision, or?
Yeah, so I was raised Christian, actually. I grew up in the church. I went to Lutheran University as well, and my uncle's a pastor. We grew up singing. My aunt led choir for years and years, and so I'd play violin and act and do all this stuff in front of the church. And so I really grew up heavily involved in church, you know, like I said, even going to a Christian university. However, my husband, at the time, my now ex-husband, he was atheist. And so everyone thought, that's so crazy, that's so weird, how did you know, make that work? And but that didn't change.
And you said he would leave you notes on the mirror and things, right?
Oh yeah. His point was that the baby could not exist in the world under no circumstance, not even adoption. So that was not even. Nope.
And even though you were in the process of a divorce, you still adhered to his desires, his wishes to end the life of the child.
Yeah, I mean, he was making various threats, or, you know, putting different scenarios, and, you know, coming down on me so hard, you know, it's, you're going to pick this child that's not even born and over your other 5 kids, or, you know, you're going to do this and that, you know, and it was, how could you do that? You're picking that over, you're going to destroy your entire family, and you're not going to see your kids, and this and that. And
wow, that's heavy. Wow.
And, you know, somebody had worded, you know, about like when you're being bullied and you just kind of start to believe stuff. And my mind had gone so.
Whoever that is, thank you for calling the broadcast in the middle of the show. But we're right in the middle of an important interview. So
that's okay. But yeah, you know, it just, your mind just starts going in places that it never thought it would be. You know, I would have split moments of my mind and my thinking, you know, and it's crazy what that can do to your mind. You really can never judge somebody or never think, you know, I never ever thought in a million years I'd even say the word abortion or have that even be considered. You know, why the heck I had pills. My mind, it was like I didn't know, you know, but you're just being so pressured and convinced, and this and that, and the things that you hear and that were being told to you. Just
did you? I'm curious. Did you travel to a pharmacy to collect these pills, or were they?
No, they were mailed to me at a hotel.
They were mailed to you.
Yeah.
So you'd never had an ultrasound before you took the pills?
So.
Nope. I never had to meet anybody. I don't even remember having any type of face-to-face either. It was all just via chat online.
Wow.
I didn't know that, actually.
So incredible. And I mean, so you're a nurse, right? Yeah. And did you know the ramifications of taking the pill should the pregnancy be extended further along? I mean, there are dangers, right? If the child is more developed.
Yeah, did they give you any heads up of like what you could experience or anything?
No, and what's even more crazy and alarming, and it was something in the back of my mind that I knew, like I said, as a nurse, that I kind of knew in the back of my mind, but they totally, completely had minimized. And I thought, oh my gosh, you know, well, this is a risk. And my, you know, it was part of my whole back and forth, because your mind is just going back and forth, that I actually had already gone through a battery of tests prior to actually becoming pregnant. I actually thought, oh no, I'm probably not going to be able to even get pregnant. I'd gone through all this stuff with my OBGYN. I mean, I had every test under the sun. She tests for everything here. And so one of the only thing that really kind of came up was that I had a little bit of anemia. So I was kind of on that border of anemia. And I had already had kind of some spotting in between in my cycle. And so that I was at risk for potentially having severe blood loss and being at risk for a transfusion or hemorrhaging. And it was so minimized. And again, thank gosh I'm a nurse, because I mean, I've done blood transfusions. I have administered them. I've had, patients that come into the ER and they're hospitalized and everything. And I know what that means, what having a blood transfusion means, and how that becomes a really significant part of somebody's medical history. Even when we're caring for them, have you had a blood transfusion? How many have you had? Things like that. You're hospitalized to have a blood transfusion. You don't just drive through, get one. It's no big deal. And it was so minimized. It's like, you might need one, but it's probably no big deal. They told me, don't worry, it's safer than a Tylenol. Again, they didn't know who was on the other end of that chat, but I'm thinking in my head, like, how crazy that I'm being told this.
Safer than a Tylenol.
Safer than a Tylenol.
That's
what
the
I was told.
abortion, 2-part abortion drug. And there's guaranteed hemorrhaging that's coming. I mean, and the crazy thing is, and I have learned that if the child, for example, if it's an ectopic pregnancy, you could now enter a life-threatening situation on top of any other issue that the mother may be facing. And the person who's mailing or sending you the abortion drug, they don't know, and I guess they don't care.
Right.
I mean, you don't necessarily even know where those pills are getting mailed to you from.
Right.
I was telling a story here a while back, I think, on the radio, that I was coming back from Florida from a conference. And I was sitting with a whole bunch of other executive directors we were all catching the same flight into Texas. And they were sitting there looking at this text and they were talking about it. And one of the ladies had purchased abortion pills online. And they showed me the envelope with the mailing address. And it was from here in Las Vegas. And so I looked up the address on my phone in Las Vegas, and it just came into one of these strip malls.
Oh,
and when you typed it in, it wasn't even actually legit, but they were nonetheless shipping it from somewhere here in Vegas.
Wow.
So you just never really know where that stuff. I mean, there's such a black market on that stuff anymore. But tell us how, after you saw baby Kaylee, how your pregnancy proceeded.
Well, there's a point of you taking the pill and then realizing, wait a minute, what have I done, right?
Absolutely.
And so what was that thought process before you called First Choice? I mean, how far did this go before you needed to call?
I think
you said you were, 30 hours in?
Yeah, I was about 30 hours in.
Right.
So I knew the clock was ticking, and I was already having interesting sensations in my womb. And I would tell people it's weird because no one else can explain what it is, but I would get a warm sensation over my womb, and it would come, and it would go, and it would come, and then it would go. And it was weird. Every time I would hit, I would cry because it was like, I didn't know, like, is my baby dying, or is that just almost like an angel or something, like some kind of protecting, like, it's okay, baby, like comforting my baby. And I think that was so, like, moving for me too. I'm like, maybe that's my baby being protected. Maybe there's still hope. And I knew that I had to know. Whether my baby was alive or not. And something in me just was like, okay, let's, like I said, my mom and I prayed on it, and we found First Choice. We booked it straight there, and they walked us right on. And when I saw my baby's heartbeat, I mean, you just can't but to be, like, elated, like, okay, let's just say my baby saved my baby.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So then you walked through your pregnancy, and you were telling me the percentage of babies that are born the way Kaylee was.
Oh, yeah. So completed my abortion pill reversal, went through my pregnancy, which, by the way, Kaylee is totally perfect. Being high risk, she has gone through everything from lab testing, EKGs, hearts, organs, everything has been thoroughly checked. She's perfect. Totally perfect.
Thank you, Lord.
Yep.
Wow.
She just turned 2.
Yep. And she was born, got to have a beautiful water birth, and which was what I really wanted. Of course, this is all the story in a nutshell because there was so much more turmoil and, pressures and all kinds of things that I endured. And really it took a village, and it took a team, and it took a lot of prayer, and it took a lot of support to get us to the end. And
after you reversed, did you ever say, maybe I shouldn't have reversed?
I don't think that I regretted reversing, but or like regretting having the reverse, but I still endured so much pressure through the rest of the pregnancy. And I had even had pregnancy abortion appointments made even afterwards, and one being that it was the center. My husband had taken me to the abortion place, and it was right there on the same street as First Choice. And I just freaked out. I was like, I can't do this. What are you doing? Oh my gosh, is this a sick joke? Because it was like, this is the same place I saved my baby. I can't take my
So
baby's
you didn't
life.
know where he was taking
Wow,
you
so
when
you
you
went-
passed
I did
First
not
Choice.
know
my
those
goodness.
the address. No.
And you drove right by First Choice. Did
And
you? And you
It's
noticed
right
it
there
when
on
you
the
dro-
same street.
And
I
you
like,
noticed it, obviously.
yeah, I'm like, oh my gosh, this is so familiar. And sure enough, I'm like, no, I cannot take my baby's life the same street. I saved her life. Yeah.
Wow. Wow. And talk about intervention.
Yeah.
God does things amazingly different, and that's just amazing. And so I'm curious,
and
being
so
the guy.
she was born. So she was born water birth,
Yeah.
and she was born NCOL, which means born in the amniotic sac, which is so rare. I think it's like only one in like 88,000 births or something. It's really rare, especially for it to just be like a normal, vaginal delivery, not like a C-section. But she was born in colon. So as soon as I knew that, I was like, this is so special. So she's born in the sac, and I have video of it and everything. And she gets unveiled as she's placed onto my chest.
Wow.
Yeah. And so we have her veil. Yeah.
Wow.
It's so special.
So how long was she in the amniotic sac till you guys popped it and took her out?
Just as she was placed onto my chest. So she gets placed on my chest, and then we take the sac off. And there's a lot of, they say like, things around it, that it means that they've got like this great purpose, or they're going to be, it's very like, it's good luck,
It's like
it's
God's-
very significant.
It's like God opening a gift, like a present to you, and
It was.
here's your life, here's your daughter. Oh
Yeah.
wow, that's just so incredible.
Yeah, you see those videos sometimes on social media of the baby moving around in the sack and all that.
Yeah.
And they finally, have you seen them?
I've never seen a pregnancy like that.
Yeah, and you'll see the baby moving around in it, and they haven't experienced the air or anything, so it's just quiet, and then all of a sudden it's like,
yeah.
yeah,
Wow.
so cool. I'm gonna have to see that video.
I
'cause
have
haven't
to,
seen
yeah,
it yet.
I'll have to show it to you. Yeah.
Amazing. So, all right, because I've got a guy question, but before we get to the guy question, we have to do our sponsors. Now, listen, if you're listening to this amazing story with Jessica, this is just incredible. This is some of the services that First Choice provides. This is why they're there, why they exist, to be God's hand in a crisis situation, a devastating situation for the women who are pregnant out there and are facing an impossible situation where an ex-husband is just driving you literally to the abortion facility, and you want your baby. It's crazy. So First Choice Pregnancy Services, we're so delighted that they're doing and airing a show like this, and it's fantastic. If perhaps that's you today, maybe you've taken that drug, please give First Choice a call. At least find out, get more information, because as the scripture says, my people perish for lack of knowledge. You get more information from a clinic, from doctors and nurses that are there to help you. The number is 702-294-CARE. That's 702-294-2273.
And
Now-
educate the women in your life, because there's so many people around you that you have no idea are taking this pill. And they have no idea that hope exists, that it is reversible, and knowledge is power. So when you learn about this and you let people know that this exists, you literally can be on the side of saving a life.
Amen. And there's nothing like being able to hold a child, especially if you're the mom whose child has been saved. And I mean, it's just, I've had the honor, but never my own child. I have 5 wonderful children, and I'm delighted. But I've never, I've held a child that we've helped, seek help for. But imagine being a mom like Jessica, whose child is alive, and it could have been totally, totally different. All right. Before we go any further, we got to acknowledge some of the wonderful people that make this show possible, and that's Kelly Chiropractic. Now, listen, we love our sponsors, and we're mentioning them because we want you to go see them. First of all, if you're suffering from any kind of pain, doesn't matter what kind, skeletal, from asthma, plantar fasciitis, it doesn't matter. You need to see Dr. Ray Kelly, who has his doctorate in chiropractic. They treat injuries from falls, accidents, motor vehicle crashes, work-related stuff, even treatment for high blood pressure and allergy-induced autism, chronic arthritic pain and inflammation. Maybe that's you today and you're suffering from incredible pain. Listen, you've got to see Dr. Ray. Aren't you tired of taking all those pharmaceutical drugs for your pain? Why not just fix it? Give Dr. Kelly a call. You're going to love him. First of all, he's also a pastor. So not only is he going to treat your situation and get you straight, he can pray for you as well. Here's the number, 702-870-9200. That's Kelly Chiropractic. It's right here, right in the middle of town, 1405 South Arville. Been doing this 32 years, treating the folks here in the Valley of Las Vegas. Kelly Chiropractic, whom we absolutely love, proud sponsor of the Champions for Life radio broadcast, 702-870-9200. And Kelly Chiropractic, and we absolutely love Dr. Ray. So go see him.
Dr. Ray.
We love Dr. Ray.
So, Jessica, your life has taken on a whole nother path. I've kind of enjoyed from afar kind of watching how God has been kind of bringing people into her life, because she is a powerful voice to put on this.
Well, you're a nurse.
Yes.
This is,
That's
you're in the
main
medical
reason
profession.
why.
It's amazing. And even you who are a nurse and are knowledgeable about this, I don't even know how you could even consider a drug which could have some detrimental effects, and you're a nurse and you still took it.
It shows you the power of people.
Which leads me to my guy
Despair.
question I was going to ask. And you don't have to answer, but we are on the air.
Go for it. Go for it.
But so your baby's now 2 years old. Kaylee, beautiful little girl, right? What has Dad said now? I mean, he has seen, obviously, he's seen his daughter.
So Kaylee has a different dad, but she's so loved. She's so loved by her family, and ex-husband still the same.
Perfect.
Yeah, but she's so loved, and kind of another little part of it. I kind of had the kids kind of saying stuff, we wish the baby would die, and don't pick that baby, and really mean stuff that they probably don't even know that they said now, and they just love her so much. Everybody, it's like she's such a joy,
and she's actually a big sister.
Yeah, she's a big sister now too, and she's great. She's so great. Everybody's so happy.
I love happy endings.
So, tell us a little bit about what the last, I don't know, you could do 2 years or the last year of your life has been like, and the doors that God has opened for you. Yeah. And where you went a few months ago.
Yeah.
Tell us how this has transformed your life.
Oh gosh. Well, one thing I'll definitely say, this definitely was for sure one of those things that you never know, like never say never. You never know who things can happen to. It doesn't matter what you are, what your profession, race, color, or anything. And a long time ago, before I actually became a nurse, I was a diehard business major. I do have a degree in business as well, but I actually was advocating for prenatal care in the state of Nevada. I was speaking and sharing my story at the time for prenatal care, and I was on the Nevada Maternal and Child Health Advisory Board prenatal subcommittee, Nevada Medicaid Coalition, and I was just this regular plain Jane. Instead of griping and moaning, I thought, well, let me share my story and tell them why this is so important that women have access to prenatal care quickly. And lo and behold, I found myself amongst a bunch of nurses, and I thought, well, gosh, I can become really credible and make a bigger difference and help more women and children if I become a nurse. Totally forgot all about that. I mean, I became a nurse, I was working in the ER and traveling and doing all this awesome stuff, and life happens, and then life really happened. And then this whole thing came, and the last couple of years it came to me. It was like, God said, remember when you said you want to become a nurse so you could have a credibility and help more people and women and babies? Oh yeah, I got you. Come back. I got something for you. And so I really do feel like God has really opened a lot of these doors and provided this platform and this community not only that has helped me and really saved me and my daughter, I mean, they saved our lives. And, First Choice and the other organizations and everyone, all the prayer warriors that are out there, and it all adds up, every dollar, every prayer, everything that people have done. And so I'm just here to just give back, and then as a nurse to just provide that education and that credibility, and to have even more credibility to say, wait a second. So anyway, I've had opportunities that have come, obviously helping First Choice, which has been nothing beats being able to give back to the place that literally saved me and my baby. So being able to help with them, I've had Every Life diapers. We've been able to shoot some content for them, share our story with them. Let's see what else I've got.
You went somewhere on a trip this
Yeah,
summer.
I got to go to Washington, D.C.
Wow.
And I got to go speak at Capitol Hill.
Whoa.
I got to sit on some a caucus. We had a press briefing. We got to go speak at Capitol Hill and talk to some senators. And that was just completely, I mean, of course, and Susan B. Anthony, and sharing our story with them. And
What was the senators' response or reaction to your story?
they're very enlightened, because there's just stuff that they just don't know. They don't know. And so being able to be there and to share my story and to explain stuff, just even from the patient and the nurse side, I think it's that double whammy.
Were any of the senators pro-death? were
We
they all
did get a
pro-life?
little bit more of a friendlier crowd. We did
Okay.
get a little bit more of the pro-life crowd, which was good, just to kind of give that extra fight. I think when we shared our stories, the press and some of the caucus that we had there, I think everyone was just like jaws on the floor. We're like, questions, and it was like, what could they say? I mean, what can you say? These stories are
And you had Kaylee with
are so
you out
real.
there.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oh, wow.
Yep,
she
I brought
did.
both the babies out there with me,
Oh,
and
boy.
Yeah.
the two little ones, and it was amazing. I got to shoot the ad as well. The political ad just came out, so it was really
It's
awesome.
powerful. It's 30 seconds long.
Yeah,
I was actually going to share it. It was shared on our X account the other day. But I'm going to
awesome.
download the videos and share
And
them
so
to
you're
our
in the
Facebook.
ad?
Yeah. It's
oh,
her.
it's me. And
Wow.
Kaylee's in it too. Yeah, so we had a
Oh, wow.
whole
This is
day of shooting, and it was really awesome to
So
share that.
so now having been on the side of choice and having reversed that choice and watching all of it unfold right now in the media.
Yeah.
What's your perspective watching that now?
Oh gosh.
Because I was just, even as I was sitting there earlier, watching, they use all these different women's stories. And I just thought, it's so unfortunate that you don't hear anybody share their story of reversing that choice or
Right.
seeing a baby. Some of these, I was trying to have somebody else on tonight, but it just timing wasn't right. I was trying to do Jessica and one other, because my sister, she does, she's a cosmetologist. She does lashes, and just a few months ago, she was lashing one of these gals that she's done for years, and somehow they got on the topic of First Choice, and the gal told her, "Oh, I came there 7 years ago for an abortion. She had been raped."
Whoa.
And she has a 7-year-old little boy. And so
Wow.
I'm like, you see. And so the other day I went to my sister's house. She actually came to our banquet last month. My sister said, "Can I invite her to your banquet?" And I said, "Sure." And she's wanting to get involved with us now. But I walked into my sister's house the other night, and she was there, and her little 7-year-old boy was there with her. And this little kid, 7 years old, was sitting there with a book, just devouring this book he was reading. He was into, I think he said it was it was either 90 or 110 pages, and he was on like page 60. And he was just sitting there, and he's a smart little boy, but it's like, you don't see the humanity of the other side of these choices. You just are pounded with one perspective, that you fail to see the blessing and gift of the other side that we are blessed and fortunate to be able to see and be a part of. But so many are unaware of it. And so as I sat there, I was also watching, last night there was a town hall with Chris Cuomo and Bill O'Reilly and Stephen, I don't forgot what his last name was, the ESPN sports guy. And they had this whole town hall of people. And one lady spent a lot of time on abortion. And I just thought, it's so unfortunate that you have people speaking into an issue of life and death that don't have anything positive to say. One, because they've probably just chosen abortion. Or they've never found themselves in a position where they had to rely on God and trust in God that his plan was perfect, and got to see the beauty of that decision on the other side. And so it was like, okay, you have this lady here speaking, but you just never see the other side of it. And I told Jessica the other day, I was like, God, last week, God just I was just thinking of some stuff, and God just put Jessica on my heart. And I was like, Jessica, I now have you on my dream list. If God provides the funding, I want to hire you someday to come on staff, to be a part of our medical team, be a part of our outer-facing community speaking. I was sitting at our conference room table. It was probably last fall, end of last year, maybe the beginning of this year. And I had this young gal sitting there that I had come in to pay for her abortion pill reversal. And she needed to go to the pharmacy to get the medication, but she didn't have the money to pay for it. Which, by the way, is about $120 if anybody is interested in funding abortion pill reversals. And as I was sitting there, this girl, she was you could just tell, emotionally, mentally, she was in despair. She'd taken this thing and she deeply regretted it. And she's like, have you guys ever done this before? And she was just looking for some hope that she wasn't the first person we were experimenting on. We could tell her, yeah, this works. And so I opened my phone up and I started scrolling through some pictures of abortion pill reversal babies, and you and Kaylee were one of them. And it just changed her countenance to see that it had actually worked before. Mm-hmm. And so, God brings us through different situations, and we always have to look for what is his purpose in this situation. Why? Why, God? What is the bigger picture? And so, so I let her know last week that God put her on my dream list.
I love it. I'm so honored.
And so now, of course, obviously we're facing an election where abortion is a big part of what we're going to be voting upon, if you've not yet voted. And question 6, obviously. So I imagine your perspective on question 6, has it changed somewhat? I mean, what would you tell a listener who's listening saying, listen, I haven't made up my mind on this yet. Question 6, everything I'm hearing on the news is, well, this is going to protect women's right to choose.
And for those that are on the other side of this listening and you're wondering what question 6 is, if you don't know, currently the laws in Nevada in our Constitution allow you to abort up into 24 weeks of pregnancy. Question 6 on the ballot is extending that to birth. It also removes that you have to be a licensed physician, and it changes it to a healthcare professional. So it lowers the standards of who can provide abortions. And then it also removes any parental notification of minors.
That's right. And it also makes it difficult if something goes wrong to go back after the abortion facility. There's a whole list of ramifications.
In the details.
Yes. But so I take it, has your opinion changed on question 6? Was it something you were going to vote for, hadn't thought about? I mean, what would you tell someone who's trying to debate the merits of question 6 and say, well, I'm thinking about voting for it, or maybe I'm not? What would you tell them?
Well, I'll say even my daughter, she's my oldest one is actually 18, and so we're having this talk right now, actually, because it's crazy. I'm like, after everything I've been through, you're gonna really
We're still
debate.
having this talk.
Well, she goes, oh, well, that's just the freedom. That's just the right to choose. And I want people to have the right to choose. And I'm like, listen here, we're going to have a whole conversation. Because I think that she obviously, and she's followed stuff, closely. She's watched different things, and she's got her book. She's going by it one by one, her first time voting. And she still is mistaken on stuff like that. And so, I think really it's not what it's being portrayed as. It's not just, oh yeah, it's just the right to choose. No. Like, it's not. And it's not freedom. It's not freedom of choice. It's not freedom of reproductive freedom. The wording is very confusing. You're putting people's lives in danger,
Ultimately, yes.
That's, gosh, even going through that process myself and even asking questions of how do they perform late-term abortions. I called these clinics and asked them. I remember one of them, she goes, I've worked here for 10 years and no one's ever asked me this many questions. And I said, well, you met the one. And it's very a brutal process. Those details are really not out there either. It's just, nonchalant. But it's brutal. It's barbaric. It really is. It's barbaric to go that far. And obviously, I'm here to say no. Vote no. Vote no on sex.
Well, last night, even on that town hall panel, they had Sarah Palin on it for a little while. And, her youngest child has Down syndrome. Like,
that's right.
Ken has
yes,
a child
I have
with
a daughter.
Down
My youngest
syndrome.
daughter has Downs, and we love her, by the way.
And Sarah Palin and Bill O'Reilly brought up, like, they just wanted to brush over the whole abortion thing. And Sarah Palin said, this is a human being. And her and Bill O'Reilly really kind of pressed into it and said, nobody ever talks about adoption anymore. And that it was so true. Nobody really, in this whole discussion, Sarah Palin was like, what can we do, like, to preserve the sanctity of human life? And was encouraging to explore options of adoption. But nobody's interested in that because we're such a self-centered society that it's like, I am not going to put myself in a position of carrying a baby to birth and then giving that baby to anybody else. And the comments and things I've heard over the years is like, wow. How about looking at the other side of that? You're empowering. It's an empowering choice to be able to choose life and give somebody the ability to have a family that wouldn't otherwise have a family. But it's not something we encourage or we celebrate. Yet we will celebrate surrogacy because we had that patient that I shared with you guys a while back chose adoption, and she got to the 7th month of pregnancy and had been so shamed by people for placing her baby for adoption that she started telling people she was a surrogate mom, and then she became a hero again. And so last night, even when they kind of pressed down on this and were like, hey, this needs to be a broader discussion that's had, and we can't just brush over this as reproductive rights and a woman's right to choose. There's another life involved in this. It's something that nobody likes to get into the details about. And I also as I was thinking about it, I was thinking about some of the challenges and struggles that we have had this year with people trying to stop us from sharing truth. And as I sat there and watched this town hall of people last night sitting there talking about reproductive rights, I mean, what's that look like? Do these people know that reproductive rights looks like a baby torn limb from limb a lot of times? That the baby is alive while the abortionist goes in there and yanks its little arms and legs off of it while it fights for its life to no avail? Do these people know that these reproductive rights are babies that thankfully Jessica didn't experience, they're giving birth to, and they are seeing these little children in their toilets that they're flushing into our water system.
Yeah.
I mean, I read one story of this lady. She said, yeah, they told me I was going to see little arms and legs, and they prepared me for it, but she wasn't prepared for how terrible the experience was and the cramping, and her boyfriend wanted to take her to the hospital. This is a whole article that was in, I forgot if it was Washington Times or Post that I read last year. And you walk through this whole thing of her getting these pills in the black market, and she ends up going into her bathtub to try and get some relief from the terrible cramping that she's having. And she ends up giving birth to this baby in the bathtub, and the baby floats to the top of the water, and it's like somewhere between like 3 to 4 months. And she ends up putting it in a little like shoebox and goes and buries it out by the wood tree line. And it's like, this is what you're advocating for. This is what you're putting all these commercials on TV for, advocating for murdering innocent people. It's a pretty word. The reality behind the word is barbaric, and it's ugly, and it's gruesome. And the pro-life community, Christian community as a whole, has steered clear of exposing abortion for what it is. We have allowed the other side to continue to frame this as pro-choice, reproductive rights, without holding anybody's feet to the fire of what that looks like. And as long as we have a society that can sit here and continue to advocate for this, being completely disconnected from the reality of what it is they're doing, you'll never change people's minds and thoughts on this issue. I guarantee you the majority of people on these commercials that I repeatedly am seeing, I mean, they have a large variety of women, different women, young ladies. If you showed them the reality of what it was they were sitting there fighting for, they wouldn't be fighting. They would back off of it.
Yeah. I'm reminded of what Dr. Wilkie said. Dr. Wilkie is formerly known as the father of abortions, did 100,000 of them. And he said in his book, after he quit what he was doing and now was pro-life, he said if the womb were transparent, there'd be a lot less abortions today. And if the reality of what's happening during an abortion was made known to the public for truly what it is, there would be far, far fewer of them. And it is such a devastating thing. I remember, years ago, I think 25 years ago at least, they literally brought the video. In the case, the one that I saw was Eclipse of Reason. It was with Charlton Heston. It was Charlton Heston and Dr. Bernard Nathanson. And they had cameras outside the womb and cameras inside and out of this woman who was late term. She was at least 6 months. And we watched in horror as they did an abortion on this woman, and we could see what happens to the child, and it's something that I could never see again. I saw it once, and I've never seen it again, and I just can't. And if the American public would see what it actually is, what's happening to that child, that baby, this thing would be over tomorrow. It would be over tomorrow. There would be no discussion.
Yep.
And because the womb is opaque, and because it's behind a clinic door in a separate room, hidden from the world to see, that's why it continues, because there's no light being shed. And part of the reason that this broadcast exists, part of the reason that First Choice exists, and that there are Christians who are manning crisis pregnancy centers around the nation, pregnancy help centers, is to draw light to the fact that this is a crime happening in our community, in every community. And whether your state is pro-life now or pro-choice, it doesn't matter. Abortion pills are being funneled to your state. And women are making a very horrible, terrible choice that's not only harming them, but harming the child that is growing quite well and quite happily within their womb.
And to hear the political commentators on this saying abortion, it could be the driving issue that determines if Kamala wins presidency. I'm like, wow. Can you imagine I won the presidency off of the one topic of murder?
And that's what it sounds like, to be honest with you.
Wow.
I mean, the predominance of advertising is abortion related, and I'm shocked. I'm just shocked at what's happening. This is our culture now.
Yep. And God's people and pro-life organizations are cowering from taking this on full steam. If people would take this on full steam and expose it for what it is, it would be a whole different conversation we'd be seeing and having.
Yeah.
I just want to add real quick too. I think that something that people don't really know or they don't really see until they get into that, and that's the whole side of all of the regret that people have and the pain and the suffering that they have for the women that did go through the abortions. That was one thing that I found online through Facebook groups. I ended up seeing that there were so many women that were saying, don't do it. It was the worst decision. And the pain and suffering that those women have endured and all the mental health problems, women that were told by the board, it's fine, you're making the right choice, you can have another baby, that did not get to have another baby after that. There's a whole unspoken, and I know mental health is so big right now and self-care is so big, but these women are hurting, and because they did actually go through with it. Not only the loss of the child, but the loss of the mental health that they have now for the rest of their lives.
Without the details.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to say, this is another wonderful feature of First Choice, is their counseling centers. And perhaps you have gone through this. Now you're on the other side of it. Christmas rolls around and depression hits, or the due date rolls around, and my baby would be 1 or 2 or 3 or 5, and you need someone to talk to. Honestly, you need someone to pray for you and talk with you about and walk through this. And First Choice is there for you. Not going to charge you anything. Give them a call. The number 702-294-CARE. That's 702-294-2273, and say, listen, I lost my, it doesn't matter, but miscarriage, abortion drug, actual abortion surgery, whatever it is, and or male or female. And you say, you know what, this is what I'm dealing with, and it's tough right now, I'm struggling, and I need someone that can relate. And let me tell you, the angels that are there at First Choice are there for you. It's why this clinic exists. And so you want to give them a call and talk to them. They will love on you. They will pray for you. And through their guidance, you will experience the healing that God has for you. And I've got good news for you, by the way. And the good news is your child that you're grieving over is living quite happily and is dying to meet you. No pun intended. Is wants to meet you in heaven. It really does. And it's going to be a joyful day when that happens. Give First Choice a call. That's 702-294-CARE, and talk with the wonderful folks there. And
I just to follow up on that, there's no condemnation in Christ.
Amen.
I spent about 4 hours the other day with a couple of ladies that came over to my house. We are going to be launching Surrendering the Secret, a Bible study for post-abortive women, coming the beginning of this year. So if that's something that any of you are interested in, please reach out to us, because we would love to provide you the opportunity to go through something like that so that you could find real healing, forgiveness, and liberation that comes from Jesus in that whole process.
How awesome is that? A Bible study for men
It's
and
a
women?
very
Is
awesome-
it just women or
No,
men and
well,
men?
we're going to do it with women, but there is one in town with
For the guys?
for the guys as well. Mm-hmm.
Wow.
It's
Wow, isn't that
a
amazing?
It's
I
a
love this
nine
stuff.
weeks. You have to be dedicated for 9 weeks. There's a video that accompanies it that's powerful. I watched 2 of the videos in the series. It was really good. But we're almost out of time.
It's
just
almost
like
out
that.
of time, Jessica.
Jessica, thank you so much for joining us today. We'll have you back again.
Oh, absolutely.
Thank
You'll
you
get
so
to meet her
much.
one day at
Yeah.
First Choice.
Oh, you'll be seeing more of her around
Okay.
because we got plans.
Yeah, God's got a
got
purpose for
plans.
me. I'm
For
going to be
not only
everywhere.
Jessica, but for
You're
you
gonna
as well.
see me everywhere.
Amen.
Stages, TVs, everywhere.
Thank you all for joining us tonight. God bless you, and
bless
have
y'all.
a good weekend.
And thank you.
Thanks for joining us for the Champions for Life radio broadcast, the outreach ministry of First Choice Pregnancy Services.
Join us every Thursday at 12:30 on KKVV 1060 AM.
If you or someone you know need help with your pregnancy, or if you wish to visit or support our clinic and radio ministry, please call 702-294-CARE. That's 702-294-2273.
Or visit us at fcpschampions.org. That's fcpschampions.org.